There's a difference between a competitor and a killer. A competitor wants to beat you. A killer wants you to remember it. The next morning, the next season, 20 years later at a card show when somebody brings it up and you feel your jaw tighten.
Good again. You're seeing a greater performance as you'll ever see from Larry.
This league has produced hundreds of great players. It has produced very few men who made other professionals genuinely not want to come to work. That's the list you're on right now.
About the change of pace. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you have nowhere to go in a change of pace.
That's very true. 7 players who turned cruelty into a competitive advantage and made it look like art. Some of them have rings because of it. One of them lost a championship because of it. And the man at number 1 told a Hall of Fame defender exactly what he was about to do to him, then did it, and apologized for finishing too early. Stay with me.
Oh, you can give him one more. That's a grown man move right there.
Number 7, Michael Jordan.
Jordan out front, pressured by Dennis Johnson. Michael on the drive, in for the right. Hesitation.
April 20th, 1986. Boston Garden. Game 2, first round. Chicago is the 8th seed with a 30-52 record. Jordan is in his 2nd season and has played just 18 regular season games after breaking a bone in his foot.
Michael, get it pulled with a fresh shot clock. MJ. Oh!
He scores 63 points, 22 of 41 from the field, 19 of 21 from the line, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Boston wins 135-131 in double overtime. It broke Elgin Baylor's 24-year-old playoff record, and it's still the record today.
Has won it for Chicago!
Afterward, Larry Bird told reporters he'd never have called Jordan the greatest player he'd ever seen if he didn't mean it, and then said it was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Larry Bird said that about a second-year player in a game Boston won, but that's not why he's number 1. Talent isn't savagery. This is...
Sellers has Jordan.
November 23, 1991, at the free throw line against Denver, Jordan told Dikembe Mutombo the shot was for him, closed both eyes, and made it. Reggie Miller once spent a first half talking at him while leading 10-4 and finished the game with 12 points to Jordan's 44, getting told on the way off the floor to be careful about talking to Black Jesus like that. He didn't just want to win, he wanted witnesses.
Michael Jordan hit the basket at the buzzer.
June 14, 1998. Delta Center. Utah leads 86-85 with 18.9 seconds left. Jordan strips Karl Malone at the post, brings it up, crosses over Brian Russell, and hits a 17-foot step back with 5.2 seconds on the clock. 87-86. He finishes with 45 points on 15 of 35 shooting, 4 steals, in 44 minutes. He took more shots than the rest of his team combined.
Michael, get it pulled with a fresh shot clock. MJ. Oh!
6th title, 6th Finals MVP, last shot in a Bulls uniform. John Stockton called him the greatest closer in the history of the game, the man he'd just beaten. That's the whole thing, right there. History doesn't remember the almost. It remembers who lifted the trophy, and it remembers who made sure you couldn't.
Has won it for Chicago!
Number 6, Larry Bird.
In front court, posted up high as Parrish. Off to Bird for the open 20.
He wasn't fast. He couldn't jump. He was the least athletically gifted superstar of his generation, and he treated the entire league like it owed him an apology for existing.
Has 26. Bird with 8 seconds. Bird on the drive. The runner.
Seattle, 1986-87 season. Tied game, late, ball in Boston's hands. Xavier McDaniel is denying Bird the ball. Timeout gets called. Bird turns around and tells him he's about to score on him right there. McDaniel says he'll be waiting. Bird tells him, I'm going to get the ball right here, and I am going to shoot it right in your face.
Feels it and takes it. And drills it again. He's unbelievable.
After the timeout, Bird made 2 baseline cuts, posted up in the exact spot he'd pointed at, turned, and buried it over him. Then, walking back down the floor, he told McDaniel he didn't mean to leave 2 seconds on the clock. He apologized for not finishing the game with the shot.
3:15 remaining in the third. Bird posted left, takes the jumper and hits it.
Here's the thing that makes this different from everyone else on the list. Bird didn't lose his temper. He never needed to. His cruelty was administrative. He won the first three-point contests in NBA history, 1986, 1987, 1988.
On the left wing, Wedman down low, Bird. He gets away from the steal. The layup is good. Front court is Bird.
In 1988, he walked into the arena and asked the other shooters which of them was coming in second, then won the whole thing without ever taking off his warm-up jacket. He beat professional shooters in their jacket, on purpose, as a message.
McHale, the #1 team, is reunited. Dennis Johnson misses a shot, rebound.
In 1986, the Celtics went 67-15, including 40-1 at home, and Bird spent stretches of games shooting exclusively with his offhand just to keep himself entertained. Boredom was his real opponent that year. Everyone else was scenery.
Has 26. Bird with 8 seconds. Bird on the drive. The runner.
And this is the man, the coldest talker the sport has produced, a player who never once gave an opponent an inch of respect he hadn't been forced to give, who watched a 23-year-old kid from Chicago play one game and admitted, publicly, that he'd just seen something he couldn't explain.
Pass gets jammed, but he gets it off to DJ. A lead for Bird front court.
Number 5, Kevin Garnett.
Olajuwon, 7 on the shot clock. Ball fake. Now he shoots it. Good D.
He came into this league at 19 years old, 5th overall in 1995, the first player drafted straight out of high school in 20 years. A teenager walking into locker rooms full of grown men who'd been fighting for jobs since he was in middle school. He decided intimidation was the only currency that would work, so he never stopped.
Well, that's a nice matchup.
The stats are absurd. 1 MVP in 2004, 1 Defensive Player of the Year, 4 straight rebounding titles from 2004 through 2007, and 9 all-defensive first-team selections, tied for the most ever.
And a form of deal. Johnson looking inside, gets it to Duncan.
His MVP season, 24.2 points, 13.9 rebounds, 5.0 assists, carrying Minnesota to the Western Conference Finals. But this is the game that tells you who he actually was.
The deflection. Ginobili trying to take it away, but KG finds Pierce.
Game 7 of the 2004 Western Conference semifinals against Sacramento. Season on the line, franchise on the line, a decade of playoff disappointment sitting on his back. Garnett put up 32 points, 21 rebounds, and 5 blocks, 32 and 21, in an elimination game. That's not talent. That's a man refusing to let a building full of people watch him fail.
Incredible ability to accelerate in the open floor. Garnett having a big game.
Here's the reframe, though. The intensity had no off switch, and it didn't discriminate. Carmelo Anthony, Jose Calderon, and Tim Duncan all took his trash talk directly, and it wasn't reserved for opponents. In 2008, he laid into his own teammate Glenn Davis so hard during a Celtics timeout that the man was nearly in tears on the bench. That's the cost. You cannot manufacture that much rage selectively. It leaks onto the people you love.
It's the second time to a former Golden Gloves boxer. Send that one.
He finally got his ring in Boston in 2008, winning Defensive Player of the Year the same season. 12 years of carrying a small market team before anyone handed him a real chance. Everyone you've heard so far had to work at being intimidating. The man at number 2 made it look like small talk.
Rondo uses the speed, and that is what he has that other guys don't.
Number 4, Reggie Miller.
That ball every time was in his hands.
The savagery here isn't physical. It's worse. It's personal. June 1, 1994. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Series tied 2-2 at the Garden. New York led 70-58 after 3 quarters, seemingly on their way to a 3-2 series lead.
Reggie Miller.
He can knock that down.
Miller then scored 25 points in the fourth quarter to drag Indiana to a 93-86 win, 25 of his 39 total, with Spike Lee talking to him from courtside the entire game. And when it was over, he turned to Lee and made the choke sign. Not to Patrick Ewing, not to John Starks, to a filmmaker in the front row. He found the one person in that building whose humiliation would sting the entire city, and he aimed at him.
My goodness, what a show by Reggie Miller.
And you get the idea Reggie wants to shoot.
Here's what makes it savage, rather than merely clutch. He did it again, worse, 1 year later. May 7, 1995, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, same building. With 18.7 seconds left and Indiana down 105-99, Miller hit a three, stole the inbound pass from Anthony Mason, dribbled back behind the arc, and tied it with another three. Then a Starks miss, and Ewing rebound off the back rim, Miller grabbing it and making two free throws, 107-105 with 7.5 seconds left. 8 points in 8.9 seconds. 16,000 people went silent inside their own building, twice, in 2 years, by the same man.
Wins it for Indiana! And he waves goodbye to the...
Here's the universal truth. The league remembers the rings. New York remembers Reggie Miller. He never won a title. He didn't need one to own a city's nightmares. 30 years later, Tyrese Halliburton wore a sweatshirt with Miller's choke sign on it to a post-game press conference after beating the Knicks. The wound is generational now. Miller destroyed one franchise. The man at number 3 destroyed everyone, every night, and started with his own teammates. Number 3, Gary Payton. Here's what nobody talks about with the glove. The talking wasn't the weapon. The talking was the delivery system. In 1995-96, Payton won Defensive Player of the Year, the first and only point guard to ever win it, while leading the league in steals at 2.9 per game, averaging 19.3 points and 7.5 assists, and driving Seattle to a franchise-best 64-18 record.
Toughest play by Gary Payton Jr., the third.
No guard would win that award again for 26 years. He made 9 all-defensive first teams, tied for the most in NBA history with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Garnett. Now here's the part that should have changed a finals. In the 1996 finals against a 72-10 Chicago team, Sonics coach George Karl kept Payton off Jordan for the first 3 games because Payton was nursing a calf injury. Chicago won all 3. Jordan scored 28, 29, and 36. Karl finally relented in Game 4. And the league saw what a savage looks like when he's finally allowed to hunt.
One on LeBron. Curry, 3.
Over games 4 through 6 with Payton on him, Jordan averaged 23.7 points on 36.7% shooting. Through Chicago's first 15 playoff games that spring, he'd been averaging 32.1 on 47.6%. Seattle won Game 4 and Game 5 and pushed the series back to Chicago. That's the what-if that Seattle never got to resolve. 3 games too late, 3 games. Payton's method wasn't finesse. It was accumulation. Bodying, denying, banging, wearing a man down over 48 minutes, so the fourth quarter would cost him more than it used to. It was defense as attrition warfare. Jordan's response when Payton claimed he'd changed the series? He waved it off entirely, saying he never had a problem with the glove, which, if you know anything about that man, tells you exactly how much it bothered him.
Toughest play by Gary Payton Jr., the third.
Payton hunted men on defense. The player at number 4 never guarded anybody, and still ruined more nights in Madison Square Garden than any visiting player alive. Number 2, Bill Laimbeer.
Against the rookie, Robinson, double team on Aguirre.
You already know the reputation. Here's the stat that reframes it. He could actually play. Laimbeer won the NBA rebounding title in 1985-86 at 13.1 boards a game, snapping Moses Malone's 5-year run as league leader.
Most improved player 2 years ago in the NBA and has also been an All-Star one time.
He was a 4-time All-Star, became the Pistons' all-time leading rebounder, and from 1982 to 1990, nobody in the entire NBA pulled down more defensive rebounds than he did. That's not a goon. That's a legitimately elite center whose skill got buried under his reputation. And he was fine with that because the reputation was the point.
This is Detroit's pace right now.
Detroit won back-to-back titles in 1989 and 1990. Laimbeer started on both. And the way they got there was by making basketball physically unpleasant. Not aggressive, unpleasant. He became notorious for hard, often flagrant fouls, with opponents openly accusing him of trying to injure them.
Williams, small team, but they're looking for quickness and defense. They've got to watch out.
Here's where it gets complicated. He wasn't just a bruiser, he was a psychologist. In the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals, he started a fight with Larry Bird in Game 3 that got them both ejected, and Boston missed Bird far more than Detroit missed Laimbeer. Then he antagonized Robert Parrish, one of the most even-tempered men in the sport, until Parrish finally punched him, earning a suspension.
Double on Aguirre. Laimbeer took a low pass from Aguirre and hit.
He traded himself for Larry Bird. He traded a technical for Robert Parrish's availability. Those weren't losses of control. Those were transactions. And the flop, the theatrical collapse from the slightest contact, that was his too. He never denied any of it. He understood something most tough guys never figure out. Being hated is only a liability if you care.
Most improved player 2 years ago in the NBA and has also been an all-star one time.
He also tied an NBA Finals record with 6 three-pointers in Game 2 against Portland in 1990, because of course the villain could shoot. Detroit's savagery was collective. It took an entire roster to build that fear. The player at number 5 did the exact same job alone, on an island, 94 feet from his own basket.
Trailblazer points here in overtime. Pistons by 1. Laimbeer wants it.
Number 1, Draymond Green.
Here's George, cross court to Leonard.
Here's what the highlight reel leaves out about the most feared defender of the last decade. He was the 35th pick, second round, a guy with no position, no jump shot, and a body type the league had decided didn't work anymore. So he built something else.
He wanted this assignment.
Green won Defensive Player of the Year in 2016-17, the first player in Warriors franchise history to earn it, and won 4 championships in Golden State in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022, making 8 all-defensive teams along the way.
Now watch this, arms over the legs. Now watch this. No, but we're not done yet.
He did it at 6'6", guarding every position on the floor, talking the entire time. Not occasional talk, continuous. Referees, opponents, teammates, coaches, the guy sitting behind the bench. But here's the part nobody wants to talk about.
As Green strips Anderson, and then Anderson picks it back up.
That edge, the exact same edge that made Golden State's small ball defense unsolvable, cost them a title. In Game 4 of the 2016 Finals, he was flagged for a flagrant foul on LeBron James that triggered an automatic suspension for Game 5 because of accumulated flagrant points. The Warriors were up 3-1. They lost the series.
Draymond Green connects to the head
In the regular season.
But some of that too, Mike.
Sit with that. A 73-win season, the greatest regular season in league history, gone, in part, because a man could not stop himself from being who he is at the exact moment restraint would have won a championship.
Here's George, cross court to Leonard.
And if you're thinking he learned from it, he sits second in career ejections all time and leads all active players in technical fouls. He never dialed it back. He decided the fire was worth the burns. That's the trade every savage player makes in this league. The thing that makes you unbeatable is usually the same thing that gets you thrown out.
He wanted this assignment.
You don't get to keep one and discard the other. But Green was operating in an era with replay review, flagrant point systems, and a league office watching every possession. The man at number 6 played in a decade where none of that existed, and he used that freedom like a weapon.
Now watch this, arms over the legs. Now watch this. And no, but we're not done yet.